In Premier League, Week 3 saw some close matches and upsets as the season started heating up. ASUS Fate secured top 2 in Group A. Team Fat Rabbit and Full Lewis fought out a very close set, and Sotak 269 slipped out of the top 2. My name is Sanius, and welcome to the GPL Breakdown. Week 3 began with Indonesian team Jakarta Juggernauts coming up against Vietnamese powerhouse Saigon Jokers. After having a bye in the previous week for the group, both teams were looking for a jump start to the top of the group. Unfortunately for the Juggernauts, they would be no match for the Jokers, who showed experience and class in their simple win over the newer Indonesian team. In Game 1, the Juggernauts were able to hold their own against the Jokers for the first 15 minutes, but struggled once the laning phase ended. While the Juggernauts would look good in team fights, their shot calling and rotational play was off, as one would expect from a new GPL team. Game 2 would be just as close, with the Jokers' experience carrying them through in the end. In the second set of the day, the fight for the second spot in Group C would heat up, with Singaporean wildcard Team Fat Rabbit coming up against the GPL veterans Hanoi Full Lewis. These games would be close for both teams, with both capable of punishing the slightest of mistakes. In the end, both teams would share points as they fought out a 1-1 draw. Game 1 would start out well for Fat Rabbit after picking up first blood in the mid lane, but from then on, Full Lewis would have the edge, with Shine's Killer Rumps and Cassidon and the map presence from King of War's Pantheon making it look easy for Full Lewis in the first game. Game 2, however, would favor Fat Rabbit, as mid laner and AD carry Dream and Peshchap would snowball early leads into late game dominance, enabling Team Fat Rabbit to win a Game 2 and draw the set. On Day 2, Vietnam Sotak 269 would be looking to hold down the top spot of Group D, while Singapore's Insidious Gaming Legends would be looking to make that push at the top spot themselves. In a surprising upset, Legends would pick up the 3 points, simply outplaying the Vietnamese team and moving up to take first in Group D. Game 1 would be all Insidious Gaming, as they took the game with a firm grasp early on and never let go. It was a similar story for Game 2, as despite a poppy pick from 269, ISG Legends rolled to a simple 2-0 set victory. Team captain and mid lane Li4 wins MVP for his overall set performance with LeBlanc and Jace, crushing to a set KDA of 21.5. In the second set of the night, it was Group D Malaysian Derby with Basaro K-Thanks By and Kuala Lumpur Hunters. KTP were fresh off of a loss to Sotak 269, while KLH were coming off of a tight draw with Insidious Gaming Legends. The set was simple for the Hunters, with K-Thanks By offering little resistance as KLH swooped to a simple 2-0 set victory and moved up to equal first in Group D. Once again, it would be a team effort carrying Kuala Lumpur Hunters to victory in Game 1, one that included a Sejuani jungle that finished flawless. Game 2 would again see Moon bring out his favorite Sejuani and again succeed, this time supporting Jaeyoung on his favorite Vayne, carrying his team to a game and set victory. The final day of the week saw Group 1 take to the Rift. Set 1 between Thai Bangkok Titans and Filipino War Gods PID Diamond. It was no surprise seeing BKT take this game. They dominated Group A up to this point, while Diamond had struggled in every match. In Game 1, Diamond would throw everything at the Titans, but they fell just short every time as Bangkok Titans' experience and raw skill saw them take an easy Game 1. Game 2 would be similar, and even with Warlock bringing out a top lane Blitzcrank, BKT cruised to a 2-0 set victory and retained the top spot in Group A. In the final game of the day and week, Filipino Game X War Gods took on Vietnamese ASUS Fate in what would be the fight for the second spot in the Group A. Both teams have picked up wins and losses throughout their GPL campaign, and this game would be the decider for the second place going into the mid-season. In the end, ASUS Fate came out on top against the veteran GPL team and solidified their spot in the important top 2. Game 1 was an incredibly intense, drawn-out 40-minute game. The game swayed back and forth just as Game X War Gods looked like winning. They'd be caught out by Jinkies Syndra, and the game was turned on its head in the 39th minute. A very close Game 1 that some would call a throw from War Gods. The second game would be just as close, but again, ASUS Fate would just have the edge, coming out with a 2-0 set victory and finishing the half-season alone in second. Now as we move on to the standings, Bangkok Titans sit at the top of Group A, undefeated, followed by ASUS Fate in second. The two War Gods teams find themselves out of the top 2 and would work to do if they want to make it into the second group stage. Group A has a bye in Week 4, thus no games. The Group B standings remain the same after a bye. This week sees the struggling Infinite take on Saigon Fantastic 5, and Mineski Globe will be challenged by Anfed Ultimate, a match set to separate the top 2 from the bottom. In Group C, Saigon Jokers remain at the top of Group C after their win over the Juggernauts. The draw between Full Lewis and Fat Rabbit saw them both gain just a single point, while Jakarta Juggernauts remain winless at the bottom. This week we'll see Team Fat Rabbit taking on Saigon Jokers in what could be the tough test for both teams, while Full Lewis are set to take on struggling Juggernauts. Kuala Lumpur Hunters and Insidious Gaming Legends find themselves at the top of Group D after wins in the previous week. Sotak 269 have slipped to the third after their loss to IGL, and Basaro K-Thanks By remain winless at the bottom of Group D. Next week, Kuala Lumpur Hunters will fight to remain at the top against Zotac 269, while Insidious Gaming take on K-Thanks Spy for the second fixture. Games resume Wednesday 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central European Time, and 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Be sure to subscribe to see more recaps, highlights, and breakdowns, and like if you want to see more. See you next week.